Williams is the host of Dolly Vision on YouTube. Check it out, folks. He travels around the country covering all types of cases like this.
What is up, my beautiful people? It is good to see you in the chat room. If you're just tuning in, of course, make sure you hit that like button for your boy Dolly. As you can see, the title says Savanah Soto update. Plus, we talk new clues in the Summer Wells case. Open panel. The link is pinned at the top if you want to come up, chop it up about any of these cases. You have to show yourself in the backstage and long enough for me to see you to make sure you're not a troll. And then once you do that, of course, you can turn your camera off to a thumbnail like so. Okay. So that's if you choose to join me. But we're going to jump into a quick news update on the Savanah Soto case because, a third person was arrested. No shocker. It's no real big shocker today. We all knew the towel didn't move itself, right? So the person arrested, of course, was Christopher's mother. The mother was involved. It's crazy. A family that kills together stays together in prison, pretty much. Okay. So let's jump into this. Let's turn this up so you can hear it.
San Antonio police make a third arrest in connection to the
third
capital murder
arrest
case of Savanah Soto and Matthew Guerra. 19-year-old Christopher Preciado has been charged with capital murder, and his father, Ramon Preciado, also charged on abuse of a corpse. Then today, Murder Romanos was taken into custody.
Murder
Accused of having
Romanos
moved
in
the
her
bodies
name.
of the couple to the location where they were later found off Danny K Drive. Ken's 5's Vanessa Croy has more on the arrest of the stepmother. Vanessa.
Well, Deborah, according to an arrest warrant, officers discovered the murder weapon that Romanos allegedly hid behind a locked door in her bedroom. And shell casings from the victim's car later matched that gun, and Romanos admitted to police that it was hers. But it was a new piece of critical evidence that eventually cracked the case, leading them to believe a third person was involved, and the arrest today of Mirta Romanos. Now, let's all started on December 23rd when Savanah Soto didn't show up at the hospital where she was scheduled to be induced and deliver her baby. 3 days later, Matthew Guerra's car was discovered parked in an apartment complex near the medical center. Inside, officers found the bodies of Soto and Guerra. Both had been shot and killed. Investigators reviewed surveillance video that revealed key evidence to the case. In the video, Guerra's car is seen pulling up to the complex along with a Chevy truck. A man police say is Ramon Preciado got out of the truck, and Ramon appears to be talking to the driver of the victim's car, who police believe was Christopher Preciado. Then that video appears to show another person inside the truck toss a towel to Ramon as he then tried to wipe fingerprint evidence off the victim's car. And now, according to police, new surveillance video led to the arrest of Mirta Romanos.
That video surveillance shows her at the home right after the murders, and she was seen on video surveillance leaving in that black truck that we all saw on the surveillance video, and then returning to her home with Christopher and Ramon in that truck.
And police tell us they do not believe anyone else is involved. Tonight, Romanos is facing 3 charges, including abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence. For now, reporting live downtown at police headquarters, Vanessa Croy, Ken's Live.
Okay, so it's no shock, right? Because everybody was, rumoring that it was either the mother or the brother of Christopher. Okay, so but what the shocker is that was her gun. Okay, and then after the murder, she's unlocked this gun up. A family that kills together stays together in jail. We do live in an insane world. Like I couldn't, today my daughter came over. We went out and got some food and stuff. But if she would have pulled up with a dead body in her car, I would have ran. I don't think I would have helped her, clean up a crime scene or go dump a body. I think I would instantly be like, I don't know you, kid. Deuces. I'm out. Okay. But, this is a family that would cover for their kid or help assist in a robbery, which is just insane. Now, we heard this is over a little tiny bit of weed. That's what it's over. But he was shown in pictures flashing big stacks of money and things of that nature. Never good to be flashing big stacks of money because people could rob you. So I don't know if Christopher thought, hey, he would have this money on him. And I don't know if he had money on him. I don't know exactly what was on him. We still haven't learned what he took. Okay. We know it was over some weed, but did he rob them? Did he run their pockets? That type of stuff. Did he take everything that was in their possession as a robbery, or did he just shoot and kill him because he's a psycho? But to hear the family is completely involved in it, it don't surprise me none. Okay. It don't surprise me none. You look at Brian Laundrie, right? His parents were going to get him a shovel. They hired him a lawyer. They were going to help him hide a body. They could have been in jail like these people, Christopher's parents, but they won't. They lawyered up, did almost the exact same types of things, assisted their son in different ways. I thought they should have been in jail, me myself. But that didn't happen. Okay. That definitely didn't happen. So how's everybody doing out there tonight? Everybody doing good? If you're just tuning in, there's a couple hundred of you here now. Slow getting in. I don't know if my notifications went out, but make sure you hit the like on the video. The algorithm's been hating my face lately. So we got to get that thing up and pumping and jumping. Boop, boop, boop. So last night we went over the big, Hunter interview. Okay. So I did send Hunter a message today. Asked him if he wanted to do an interview. I haven't got a response back from Hunter, but I'm sure I will. He's probably fielding who the hell I am, right? Who the hell is this dude? But when I hear back from, I will let you guys know. So he went over a lot of things that was a little bit different than what we heard in the original Chris McDonough interview, and things that we heard from Don and Candace. Dolly got to learn about K-pop today. Okay, that's what Tiffany says. I absolutely did. It is horrible. Okay, I can understand if you're from Korea and you listen to it, but I don't know why American kids would listen to K-pop when they don't speak English. I mean, the videos look pretty cool. They look like a kung fu movie, but other than that, I don't get it, Tiff. I definitely don't get the whole K-pop thing. I'm from a different era, a different time, I guess. A different era, a different time. So one of the big things that Hunter said something about that we heard in that interview was the Burger King, that Summer liked fries. She really liked fries. She would always eat fries. Now, I never heard that from Candace, okay? I never heard in the Candace interview that they went to a Burger King or that Summer really liked fries or things of that nature. I never heard that one. Now, they actually stopped at 2 food places because we know they stopped at the Sonic that day. And now we know they stopped at the Burger King. We also know a little bit of what they did first. They went to the drugstore first. Okay. So they went to the hippie house. They got the vapes and the drinks. Come on, love. Come on up. Say hey to everybody. Say hey. Say free clubber. Free clubber. Okay. All right. So anyway, they went to the hippie house. They went to Walgreens. All right. From that point, they go to the lake, Warriors Path. And I guess from Warriors Path, when they're leaving, they stop at the Sonic. Okay. So did they get any food at the Sonic or just the slushies? Because then they leave there. They go to Priceless. Okay, Priceless. This changes because in the Chris McDonough interview, he said it wasn't that long. In the interview he did with his father, he said that they were out there for a good hour and a half, that it wasn't hot, that they had the AC on. So there's no way that little Summer could have had a heat stroke. There's no way she could have drowned it. Any of these things, he said, that didn't happen. Okay. Now, people were asking him, did you think you were used as an alibi? Does Hunter know anything? I don't really know if Hunter knows about the disappearance of Summer, but I think he does have some insight on what type of people Don and Candace are. Now, like I was sharing last night, and you know, that when I spoke with Don and Candace, they spoke pretty good of Hunter. You know, I even asked Candace, I was like, did you have a relationship with that dude? You know, or was it like a bro homie kind of thing? And she said it was just, you know, they were kind of homies, and that Allie was allowing him to drink anyway and smoke and that stuff. So she didn't think nothing of it. It was just another day to her. You know what I'm saying? That if she didn't buy it, his mama would have bought it. So she didn't seem to be a big deal to her. You know, it ain't her kid. You know, she wasn't buying alcohol for Summer or the boys. You know what I'm saying? This is a little teenage boy that carries himself kind of grown. Anyway, so to hear their stories, like Candace's compared to Hunter is a little bit, they line up a little bit, not completely, but certain things do. Okay. And then certain things don't. Now, out of one time that we ever hear Don and Candace or any of them ever mention a Burger King, they never mentioned that she liked to get fries everywhere she stopped. So that's a new one to me. And another thing that Hunter doubled down on, I'm pretty sure this is the link to get into, guys. If you want to come in here, I'll post it for you. Is that Don Wells was home from work when Summer Wells went missing. Okay, so, and if you listen to what he says, he said Don called when they were taking him home and he was on the hill and he had to be home by 3 because the probation officer was going to be there to piss test him. Okay. And now we listen to what Allie and them says in the interview about what time they think Summer was asleep in the car. Okay. Now everybody's thinking she's dead or because she had got into the medicine. Hunter addressed that. He said that the medicine was put up. Okay. Like, I guess he paid attention to that. They put the medicine up that he doubts Summer could have got in to the medicine. Now they asked him about Summer being, SA'd. Young man didn't even know what it meant. Okay. He was like, oh, hell nah. So he don't believe that Don and Candace, from his interaction with them, are capable of doing these things. Even though we did hear terrible rumors about Don Wells and his sister and the red panty night and the family pet and every horrible, damn, disgusting, humanly thing you could think of, Hunter still seemed like, nah, they loved their kids. They took them everywhere. As far as selling the kids, he kind of shot that down, shooting, selling the kids down. But I think, like I was stating, if it hadn't been so much chaos and things of that nature when he was sitting there with his dad and they wasn't worried about the sleazeball Benny Keys the whole time that they were doing this, that I think Hunter would have gave us a little bit more. He just gave us a brief rundown. He kind of just skimmed over everything, but he never really stopped to read a chapter. That's what we need from Hunter. We need piece by piece, every little single thing you can remember step by step in order. It was just really sporadic. You had to take little pieces and bits from it. And, we've been really waiting like, 2.5 years for Hunter to say anything. Okay. He looks like he's doing well. Allie, not so well. I don't know what the update is today on Allie, but, she was in a medically induced coma. Apparently, she's done fell out, went without oxygen to the brain. So it's not good. And it seems that they're behind a little bit on their rent of their house. So they're in a little jam. And like I said, I reached out to him, offered to pay him for an interview. So maybe that could help him out of his jam a little bit. Okay. Might help you out your jam just a little bit. Sit down with Hunter, see what Hunter actually has to say in a calm, collective environment without a bunch of distractions, a bunch of people screaming, without his daddy talking over him, without all those things, and see if there's just anything else he might remember that he don't realize he remembers. Sometimes things got to be triggered in your mind to make you remember certain things. Okay. So I like to sit down with him, trigger his mind a little bit, bring him back to that day or even to some of the locations and tell me what he remembers from them locations completely. Like the conversations, the mood, what were Candace, these types of things. What were they talking about? What were they doing? A little more in depth into that. Not just like, yeah, we went to the lake. Yeah, we went to Sonic. Yeah, there has to be more to it than that. Okay. All that stuff takes a period of time and things happen and things are said in them periods of time. Something you might not think it's nothing could be really important. And he just might need to remember some of those conversations that were had between Candace, Grandis, or what he thinks he heard on the phone or may have seen. If you try to talk to him in chaos, it was all over the place. And that's the bad thing. I don't think we took as much from it as we could have took from it. So hopefully Hunter will get the message and he'll reach back up and I'll jump in the whip. We'll swing down there. We'll sit down with Hunter in a private location. That's just me and him. And we'll have a little sit down talk. Will anything come out of it? Maybe, maybe not. You just never know. Okay. I just think that if it would have been a little bit more controlled environment, we would have left with a little bit more information. There's still things, that I question in it. And Hunter shot down a lot of my theories. Just did. Like the whole dry drowning, I didn't really believe that. But I thought she had a heat stroke that day. He said they had the AC on. Okay, so that kind of shoots down my theory that the kid died in the car and they found her and they heard the scream. You guys remember the story, right? They heard the scream. Jody Sue, animalistic scream. So, and, he's made some allegations against Andy, things of that nature. And then, of course, you got the weirdo Benny Sleazebag messing with the kid while his mama's in the hospital like he did it. Okay, there's more odds, I think, of Benny Keys doing something bad this summer than there is probably Hunter. Okay, now I know what people are saying. Hey, Dolly, kids can be monsters. They can be absolute monsters, and you're right, they can. I just don't get that monster vibe from Hunter. He seemed really protective of his sisters. He seemed like he was, when I wrote up on him, kind of like a mama's boy kind of dilly, you know what I'm saying? So I don't see him hurting no kids. Now I ain't no expert. He could be a damn axe murderer for all I know, but I just don't get that vibe from people, and I'm usually right. I think Hunter was a little bit in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it wasn't quite the wrong time, but it was in that day. Okay. And because if you listen to Hunter, he said, man, he hadn't hung out with them in 9 months before this. So is it strange that they popped up after 9 months? Maybe it is a little strange. Why'd they come around if Allie and Candace were fighting? Why all of a sudden, let's be chum today, the day that Summer goes missing? Did they need somebody to say we were here, we were there, we were here? And the whole time behind the scenes, Don Wells is setting something up on the heel, because there's no way he went back to work. Okay. Because so let's just say the boys were with Don. Okay. We know that from what Hunter says, the boys were with Don. But when Summer went missing, the boys were home. Okay. They were home. When Don pulls up, they're searching down by the creek. How did they get home if they were with Don? There's a lie. There's a gap in the timeline somewhere that something's not right. And Don and Candace, they need to explain this. They absolutely need to explain it. Because this kid is saying you were there, bro. I mean, he's saying that you were there that afternoon. There's no way you would have rode to Johnson City, then got the call and then had to come back and you left the kids there. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. Somebody's lying. Okay. And this is what's good when people start to talk, because then you can compare what this person said to what this person said, and then you get a lie. Okay. We don't know which one of them's lying, but we know one of them two people are lying. And if you're lying, you have a reason to lie, because people don't lie for nothing. I mean, some people do. Some people just fucking lie to lie. But for the most part, usually people don't lie for nothing. They're covering something up, even if it's a little tiny lie. A little tiny lie is just to cover up something else that's even a bigger lie. So if the math, if 1 and 1 don't equal 2, something's wrong. Okay. Because right now their 1 and 1 ain't equaling 2. It's equaling some other shit that don't make sense. So I think the more that they talk, the more Hunter is encouraged to talk, the more that will come out. Okay, we got is this Bullhorn Betty with a gigantic gavel behind her? Hold on.
It's my screen from earlier today. I just wanted to pop on here because
oh Lord, the hammer of justice.
It's coming for you, Dolly.
I hope not. I don't want to hear that. I'll be one of them dudes that jump over the bench like that dude on court TV. Judge don't want none. I'm just playing. I would never do that.
My show from early this morning. I actually fell asleep on Justin, and I just woke up and you were going live. So when you were talking about Don Wells, this is a couple things that I don't know how I feel about it. I was in Tennessee and I actually spoke to Don. And
when you were just recently down there?
Yeah, I was. It was just in the last little bit when Olivia and I were there looking for Savanah and Holland Snap this last trip. And so I had an opportunity to sit with Don or to speak with Don. Don came down and talked to me, and I didn't record it. I didn't do anything like that. He recorded it. I could see the phone in his pocket when he was recording it, but. I did get some additional information. So he absolutely tried to deny being home that day. I told him what I learned from the people at work, and he still tried to deny it. And the bottom line is I know for a fact that those boys were with him at work earlier that day. They went to work with him. I've got one of the people that he used to work for. And it's a person that was higher up and somebody that was on the job. And they said he was there and he left. But they couldn't tell me specifically, but they knew he left that day between 1:30 and 2:30. That was right about the time, he would be getting home when Candace was getting home from dropping Hunter off. This would explain why the boys were there. Nobody's going to leave those young boys home alone for hours on end. Candace would have ended up taking those boys with her.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like. But Hunter was saying that they took the kids everywhere with them, and that Don was there. And why would he leave at 3 to ride back for that little bit of time to race back?
Right.
If the boys were with Don, how did the boys get back?
That's it. The boys came back home. I'm almost positive that Don was home at the time, which kind of weighs into why are they lying that Don was home to begin with. And so when I was asking him about whether or not, because it was a light, it wasn't like I was questioning him. We were kind of it was just a light conversation. But me, I still keep, asking. And I just said, look, we're kind of out of pickle because everything just kind of comes back here. And this is a bad situation for you, especially if you didn't do it. But why does everything keep coming back to this home? And he couldn't explain that. I asked him, who else can we look at? Can we look at anybody else? If you give me a name, I promise you I will look at it. And he basically said, there's nobody else left. But here's the kicker. Whenever I was asking him for somebody else, the only other person that he could tell me, and this is when this was corroborated, DCS was over at his house the night before. And around 6:30 that night. And he's trying to say, well, Summer Wells went away at 6:30 at night, but it wasn't. And so he was basically implying that DCS must have had something to do with it, which, I'm not going to get into how I feel about that. But he did say something that caught my attention. He said that the DCS workers were getting ready to leave that evening. And the manager saw Summer around the house and went over there and talked to her by herself.
He never mentioned that to me.
And that was kind of his evidence to show me that they may have had something more to do with Summer than that. And that caught my attention because they said they were going to close the case. That morning was the morning Dudley said that Don was in a very funky and weird mood, was laying in the bathtub. They knew that DCS worker was coming that evening, and that would explain his behavior. He must have known that it wasn't going to go good. And, I'm assuming a lot here with behaviors and stuff, but it really caught my attention that a social worker spoke to Summer Wells by herself, and within 24 hours, she disappears. So and that came right from Don's mouth. I'm not making it up.
Well, I know for the same thing. He told me they were there the day before that she went missing. So he told me the same thing, that it was over the kids shooting BB guns. Somebody had reported them to
playing with real guns. Yeah.
What they didn't say, he said they were BB guns, and
yeah, he said but the report was that he was allowing them to use normal, regular firearms.
Oh, I mean, I don't know what he has at his house.
He's saying that they were just BB guns, but the report's saying they were real live ammunition.
Well, I believe they were BB guns because he had a bunch of them at his house hanging on the wall, and they were all BB guns.
Yeah.
I even shot some of them.
Right. I like BB guns.
So I actually went outside and was shooting shit with Don Wells with the BB guns. So, and he was telling me that's why they were there, and that he let Summer climb on the roof.
Yeah.
And that somebody said she was on the roof and they were shooting guns, and that they had sent the social services out there, but the social services had left, and it was nothing to it. That it was just a done deal.
That's what he tried. That's what he said to me at first, and then he kind of elaborated a little bit, because again, we don't have really anybody else to look at. So who else is left?
So he's blaming, at this point, he's blaming the CPS for kidnapping Summer.
He told me that was an angle for me to look at. I don't want to put words in his mouth, because I've been trying to make sure that everything's truthful and up on the up. And
yeah, but wouldn't they just take her? Wouldn't they just take her?
They would have went through a legal process, and they would have taken all of the kids. If one of the kids is in jeopardy, they're all in jeopardy. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, but again, I just thought it was really interesting, because that's the first time that I've heard that Summer spoke to a worker by herself.
I do know this. They do take a lot younger kids a lot quicker than they would take an older kid.
Yeah, but to scale a mountain and kidnap a kid?
But because people want babies, they don't want teenagers.
Well, she wasn't no longer a baby.
But she wasn't at the age that, she was FU, rebellious, that age either.
Yeah, but
she was still at a multiple age.
I think our default is always trying to find something, sweet and innocent to explain it. But
I don't think it's nothing sweet and innocent no more. I used to think it was an accident.
Happened,
I don't even think it's an accident anymore. According to what
that's what I tried to say too. I was on the vein. I think I started my position changed, because in that conversation as well, we know that Summer was Daddy's little girl. We know that. That's what's been ingrained in our heads from literally out the gate. And when I said some comments about her being Daddy's little girl, he wanted to distance himself from Summer and say, wait, no, she was more of a mama's girl. And it's like this, all these things are starting to change and be, manipulated from what we knew them at the beginning. We all knew that. And
the timing, she's about to start school. The CPS was just there. And then what's the odds of her getting kidnapped like that? You know what I'm saying? It's
within 24
hours. And
then
they don't really tell us a good description of what the kid's wearing. There's the mama goes for a walk. There's all these discrepancies in the very beginning of it. I think they got some explaining to do.
And even down to Summer Wells' outfit. Okay, we know that Candace is not the mother of the year. Okay, we know that she doesn't do laundry. We know that she
wait, hold up. Hunter said she does laundry, that there ain't no stains on the kids' clothes, that there's a washer and dryer in that house.
We see the stains on all of their clothes in every single photos. It's unbelievable. That statement's unbelievable based upon stuff we can see,
her physically being dirty, as a kid. Yeah, I agree. But Hunter made it be like, that they wash and dry the clothes. And there is a washer in that house.
I'm sure there is. And I'm sure she's made to wash clothes because the kids are limited on them. But, the bottom line is how often do you, or have you ever heard of Candace changing her kid's outfit 3 times in one day? I'm just asking for a few.
I found it a little odd too. And is Hunter messing up his days? Did they go to a Burger King on a different day? Is he positive he went to a Burger King on that day?
And that's another thing you have to take into consideration, because we have to consider that Allie said he never came back home the same after that day. So, you know, we have to understand some people that are subjected to different traumas forget different facts. I know, like for my sister, she doesn't even remember our childhood.
Oh, Lord. Did you do that to her?
No, that was I remember everything. I was cursed with remembering everything, and she was blessed with losing half of her life, you know. But you know, trauma does things to people, and there are ways that his brain could be confused at this point 3 years later.
Yeah, I don't know. And you know, their actions has always been strange to me. Some of the things they've said, how Don Wells talks about his daughter in past tense. I'll see you in the resurrection. Like, instantly lost hope. Like, you know, there's people that's parents, you know, people out there that kids are missing, and they every day they're still hoping their kids return home. I don't think they have that same hope. And there has to be a reason why they don't have that hope, because most people are usually in nature hopeful, and they ain't. That, you know, it always seems that they do something. And I've always thought it was an accident, but like I said, I'm leaning more towards now. Well, Hunter shot down a lot of the accidents that could have occurred.
Right.
Yeah. So if it wasn't an accident, the only thing else it could have been was on purpose.
Only the people on that mountain know what happened that day, but I mean, it wasn't an infamous person. I don't know, you know, law enforcement has maintained that there is no evidence of an abduction. That once that's eliminated, which it's been eliminated out the gate, they have never been investigating this as an abduction. They had, you know, even though they're telling us that there's no evidence, it's off their list. It's been off their list. They're focusing on what happened to this child that day. And there's only a few people, a handful of people around. And the only strangers that were there that day that they can identify are the tree people. Those tree people have been cleared. So who is left?
Yeah, it ain't nobody but Don and Candace. And the circumstances seem strange that, oh, I went inside and went to sleep. Well, you know, kind of thing. Or I was in there planting flowers and then I look back and she's gone. Well, I mean, you know,
flowers being cactuses, by the way. I want to make sure that people understand. 3 years later, these are cactuses that they said this 5-year-old.
And that trailer literally sits right where the dog path is. So if somebody was to come up that dog path and they would have been doing what they said they were doing, they would have seen somebody enter the home or run down the road with Summer. You know, how did they get past them if they're sitting right there where the dog path is at?
Listen, the dog sense that hit that dog trail is just the fact that Summer's body may have moved that way. And
yeah, I mean, she's probably been all over them hills. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought too, that she's probably been all over there to where the school bus was, down where the shed was.
And even if somebody did do something with her or take her down that dog trail, look where it had to pass. It had to have been somebody that they knew. You know, it would be somebody that would have had to pass undetected next to Grandis. I mean, you ain't getting nothing by her.
Grandis and Candace would have been standing right out there. He would have
had to pass them. I mean, that's the only, you're not getting past it unless you are them. I mean, it just, none of it makes sense.
And then, you know, Grandis, she packs up and she leaves instantly. She don't stick around at all. That's odd for a grandparent to leave when your granddaughter's missing.
Running away.
Yeah.
Running away. Who runs away?
I don't know. That's what's suspicious to me. You know, there's a lot of things that are suspicious to me. And one of the things is like that little cliff that sits beside their house that you could fall off of. I was just thinking, I wonder if, you know, and it was weird because me and when Don was talking, we walked right over where his truck was, where that truck sits in the yard. And right behind that truck is, it drops. I mean, I don't know if it's enough to kill you, but it might kill a small kid. It might kill me if I fell off of it.
It looks like it's dangerous. Yeah,
it's definitely dangerous. So when I was standing there talking to Don, I was thinking, let me get away from the edge of this before he pushes me off this bitch. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm not thinking, I'm thinking to myself, you know, and then I remember one time talking to Candace or hearing Candace say something about regrets. And she said something about the truck one day. And it just always made me think, like, why did they wander me over to that truck? You know, just maybe we just naturally walk that way.
Yeah.
But we ended up right there at that drop. And I was looking down and I was like, okay, this is.
Yeah.
So it was odd to me. It was really odd. And I mean, I don't know if she's went out there and hurt herself or fell off that swing. You know,
no, I don't. I no longer think it's an accident. I started saying that, a few months ago that after just reanalyzing this, I've always maintained that I believe that it's the same players are involved. I just believe that, something bad happened and they didn't know what to do, or they realized it too late and they just got scared. But there's just been too much that's come out to me that I haven't really discussed too much. I mean, I just let you guys know a few of the things. But I know I kind of believe something more nefarious happened to her, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let's see. Zircon says the way Don beat that refrigerator. And then, the whole thing about the couch.
Yeah.
Too. The couch. I asked Don in the basement about the couch, and he acted like he didn't know what I was talking about. But apparently, there was a couch, from what Jose said, that's set up against that door in what some people call a dungeon.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go ahead.
And then I guess apparently after Summer went missing, so did that couch.
Yeah.
So there's, rumors that they could have burnt the couch with Summer in the couch. Now, I don't know if that's enough to dispose of a body burning it like that, because I think, even in the Stephen Avery's case, they used tires to make the fire burn really, really hot, and it still didn't burn that girl completely. But we're talking about a small child, not a full-grown body either. So,
and what if they took it out to a landfill? I mean, that would have been a perfect decoy, shove her in the couch.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it was a miracle they found Quentin Simon in that landfill. I mean, a miracle, like a needle in a haystack miracle, right? Usually they don't find people that are in landfills. So if she did make it to a landfill after 2.5 years in a landfill.
Yeah, no, 2.5 years. She's already buried. I mean, they buried that trash.
Yeah, she ain't finding her. She's done like decomposed into nothing,
Yeah.
So I mean that's the sad part of it, is the more time that goes by, the less likely it is to ever be solved. I believe right now is 100% a cold case.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I don't even think they're investigating it anymore.
I think that what the issue is that one, they don't have a body. Two, they're not going to ever make an arrest on a murder until they determine she is deceased. They haven't even classified her.
Yeah, there's no blood there. There's no crime scene there.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know what they have. We don't know. We really don't know what they have. But
if they would have had that, they would have been in jail, though. I think we can assume they don't have it, because if they did have something like that, they would probably be in jail.
The blood evidence would have to be so much so that somebody could not survive for it to be used to deem somebody
dead. Yeah, deceased. Yeah, I understand.
Right. That. It doesn't mean that they didn't collect blood. Doesn't mean they didn't collect that type of evidence. It just means what they found is not enough to deem somebody deceased.
Yeah, well, I still don't believe they're going to make no arrest in it, because I believe the two people that know, they ain't going to say nothing, because they know that they're going to get in trouble and they're going to avoid that like the plague. And that Don may be right. She might not never be found. They made her hit her so good that they know them heels probably better than anybody do.
I believe I mean, if we look at the criminal mind, we look at the criminal behavior, and even somebody that is in a similar situation like Adam Montgomery, we can deduct that Summer, if she was unalived by her parents, one or the other, accident or otherwise, whatever the factors may be, based upon, the behaviors of another criminal, Adam Montgomery, we know that she would most likely have been moved multiple times.
Yeah, he moved that baby around in a duffel bag like it was luggage. I don't know. I would think Don would be too paranoid to do that. But
I know. I think he's a smart criminal too. That's what helped Adam.
Maybe they have moved this. A lot of people do think they have moved Summer Wells, that she has been moved. I mean, I don't know. And the only two people, if they're, they're dysfunctional, but they love each other, and they ain't going to tell on each other. They've been together this long. So if something did happen, they're going to keep that. Even liquor, they hadn't even got drunk and told nothing. I mean,
Don looked absolutely sober when I saw him. He looked like he had weight. He had color back in his skin. You know, I've seen him, you know, over the last 3 years.
Was it earlier? Was it earlier in the day?
No, it was in the afternoon. He was working on his truck. He wouldn't keep eye contact with me, but he was I could tell, trust me, I can tell somebody that's out there and somebody that's not. And
when I met with him, he was completely sober too. He didn't look like he had a drink one. So was Candace. I was kind of surprised because you hear them all drunk on the fucking internet. When I get there, I'm expecting them to be drunk, and they sober as a judge.
Yeah, he was sober. He was absolutely sober, and I was very thankful that he spoke to me. I'm glad that he, it's just that I was looking for.
So he wasn't mad at you about none of the past stuff?
Hmm?
He wasn't mad at you about none of the past stuff?
Well, we kind of joked a little bit about it too. Because there was something he said like a cuss word. He's like, excuse. I said, look, I've already judged you enough, don't you think? He kind of chuckled at me, And so, I did kind of keep it light with him because I was really wanting to see how his behaviors were and what he was going to. I didn't really care what came out of his mouth. I
wonder what they're going to have to say about what Hunter said now. I don't think really Hunter didn't make them look bad at all in what he said.
Yes, I don't think he ever did, but we have to still remember that we at least for me, I believe at some point he was manipulated by Candace, and whether he admits it or not, and of course I wasn't there, so I really can't say that for fact. It's just a very strong opinion and theory that I have that, I don't.
That's what Jose was saying, that, that boy lost his virginity to Candace Wells and stuff like that. She was sleeping with him.
Yeah. And maybe he didn't think it was wrong. Or, at the time, maybe he doesn't want to talk about it. Maybe he's embarrassed. Maybe there might be a host of other issues. Maybe it didn't even happen. We have to look, none of us were there. We do have that aspect of it.
What about this one, Betty? Because he said, he was shaking from the drinking. You don't shake from drinking when you just start drinking like that. He said he got the quakes from drinking.
If he's shaking from drinking, then he probably has more of a drinking problem.
Yeah, that's what I think. You see people shaking when they get their alcoholic and shit.
Yes, exactly.
Not when they get a little buzz on. If anything, it'll stop you from shaking. It'll calm your nerves. Alcohol does.
Well, let me go back and say, I have been hung over so much that I've had, but
he wasn't, this is the same day. Like he woke up the next day with a hangover and he was shaking sick. He just sitting there rocking back and forth shaking. That don't make a lot of sense, but maybe he could explain a little better. He said quakes from drinking, and I was like, I don't know about that one.
No, you don't get that. Yeah, that's usually from substances. You can get the shakes from substances, using substances, certain types.
Yeah, he got twins on the way. Allie in the hospital.
You know what? Many people don't realize that I liked Allie. I like Allie. I've always had I felt really bad for her. I felt she was always unfairly treated throughout this. I thought she was picked on a lot because of the way she looked and stuff like that. I personally liked her. I thought she was nice. Every time I called her and asked her a question, she was always willing to answer the phone, always willing to help. She was just a genuinely nice lady that, is not a perfect person. I'm not trying to paint her a paint falsehood.
Yeah, when I met her, she wasn't mean to me. She wasn't really nice, but she wasn't mean.
Right. She was just a nice person, and she's down on her luck. She's not a person from a lot of, money or, job ethic or anything like that. It's just, they have their own issues, but she's always been so nice. And I thought she was unfairly treated. And, I know she's unhealthy and stuff like that. And I feel so, so, so bad that she's in the hospital. And it breaks my heart because out of all the people that I met out there, she was one that I connected with a lot.
Yeah. I don't know if everything she says is honest, because I believe some of their stories have changed a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
But that could just be memory, time, things of that nature. I don't know. I hope she pulls through whatever she has definitely going on with her, because she ain't responsible for what happened to Summer Wells, so it ain't no reason to put any ill will on Allie, you know. And hopefully, this coma she's in, she's young too. I thought she was older than that. I thought Andrew Hiltz was older than that, and I'm like, these people
I think she's younger than me. I can't remember. Maybe I don't know. She might be younger than me. Or
Andrew Hiltz is like 35. He ain't even 40 years old yet.
Yeah, they're younger. Yeah, they're younger.
Yeah, he looks like he's fucking 60. Okay, Andrew Hiltz looks older than me.
Rough lifestyles. I mean, it does happen. I mean,
he looks old for his age. I mean, he just might be genetic, but he looks old for his age.
I think he's had some rough years. I think that probably, you know, drugs and stresses, it ages a body. What was I going to say? I was going to say one other thing, and I got to get down because I'm starting to feel sleepy again. I just happened to wake up. But what was I going to say? I can't remember. Oh, shoot. I think I lost it. I might have lost it. But I just really believe that, you know, at this point, we can all kind of assume that Summer's gone and nobody's seen her. This is the other problem I have. Nobody's reported her anywhere across the United States. Sightings. Yeah. There's no sightings of her. There's nothing. And the only sightings that they had of her, they were actually able to meet with the girl that they cited, and they said it's not her.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so she hasn't been heard of or seen from. The only people in and around her at the time were her family. She's missing, and you know, we can act like the facts don't exist the way they do, or we can just start acknowledging that, you know, there's something more here that smells to high heaven. And
yeah,
you know,
I believe just like you that little girl is gone. I hate to say it because I wish she was here, but I just, in my heart, I think that she's gone, and it's just a matter of finding her, and maybe those answers will come. If they don't find her, the answers may never come.
And we always look for past behavior. And any time that we do this type of research or this type of, but for whatever reason, when it came to Summer Wells, there's just this group of people that threw all of those lessons out the window when it came to them. I mean, they're both very violent. They both have been arrested multiple times for many years in the past, you know, up to this point. They've had every single child taken out of their home, even before Summer and her brothers. Both Candace had a set of kids taken away from her, and Don Wells had a set of kids taken away from him, in addition to their own kids. Yeah. I mean, you're not talking about wholesome, sweet, kind people that just has the world knocking them around for no reason. These people have done a lot of harm throughout their entire life, and so much so that their daughter's missing, and the last of their children have been ripped out of their hands. So at what point is people going to start looking at the facts and saying, you know, we can't act like these things don't exist anymore?
Yeah, they did these things to themselves. They've caused themselves these problems. I ain't saying that they caused their kid 100% to go disappear, but everything else involved in their life they have caused, they have created, you know. So maybe this is one of those things too. We'll just have to wait and find out. I just hope it ain't a 20-year wait. You know, I'll be dead and they find her. I'd like to, you know, have some closure in this one.
Yeah. Judge Bullhorn Betty says they're guilty still 3 years later. Okay.
Guilty.
Beat me up.
Let the gavel fall. Okay. Let it fall where it may.
Well, it's been great. Oh. And I also, she has not committed yet, but like I said, I told PJ, I want to interview you two on my channel one day. So you're going to have to figure out a date and time. I'll do it in the evening so you guys are awake.
Okay, yeah, I'm usually my schedule's gotten back to night schedule now. I was getting up real early. Now I'm going to bed real early. So
yeah, and so I was just wanting to. I don't know. I just want to do. It's just going to be light. It's not going to be, you know. It's just going to be like what got you into true crime and blah 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 blah. But I just thought it'd be interesting.
Okay, I ain't got a problem with it. Just line it up with PJ.
All right, cool. All right. You guys take care. Good night.
All right, Betty. Peace. Okay, Bullhorn Betty came through. I've had a feeling she would chime in on the Don Wells thing. You know, I agree with a lot of it. You know, that they do have a rough past, right? But that don't 100 mean they did it. Okay, that just means they 98.8% did it. I used to think so much that it was an accident, when I hear Hunter talk, whatever happened don't sound like an accident. All right, because they say that little Summer was like a little spider monkey. She liked to climb, she liked to swing, and she was like had good balance and was like, you know, could do it all. So I doubt she fell off the swing, okay? Because she swing on that swing all the time. Could she have fell off the little cliff I seen out there? I don't know, but I'm sure she played around that whole area with nobody watching her. You know, think about this: that people that grew up were like, some people raised themselves. You know, some kids I would think Hunter's one of those kids that probably raised himself a lot. You know, I don't know. Did something try? I would pray that it's an accident, because if it's not, then that means these people did something on purpose. And I really, you know, I always say I'm a vibe person. When I sat down with Don and Candace, you'll get a different vibe than you do off of Don and Candace on the internet. Okay. The internet don't do Don and Candace no favors. Let me tell you, not one, not even a little bit. Okay. If you, like, I asked Betty, I was like, did you catch Don when he was sober? And she was like, yes. Okay. Don sober is a different Don Wells, completely different guy. Totally carries himself different. Attitude is different. Demeanor is different. Right? Drinking, he's a little more aggressive, a little more brutal and nasty and crude. But believe it or not, if you sat there and talked to them completely sober, they seem like normal ass people. You know, and some of the things they were saying made sense to me. You know, some of the things they said didn't make no sense to me. So, you know, I had to go back and sit down and kind of weigh the things out in my mind of what kind of transpired that day to take away from it. I could look at these people and say, yeah, I think they would cover up the death of their kid. Just by what I've seen of them. I still probably couldn't say that they killed their kid. I just, even though now I'm starting to think it wasn't no accident, okay, because I was thinking heat stroke. This little kid's died of a heat stroke. That's so sad. And the parents didn't know what to do, and they hid the baby. Poor people, you know what I'm saying? But now it's that you take away that little bit of, I don't feel sorry for you, okay? There's a point that I felt sorry for you, that you were thrown into a position that you had to make this decision. And you made the wrong one. And I felt bad for you for that. Now I kind of feel like this baby didn't accidentally die. And if she didn't accidentally die, and I feel like she ain't with us, then that only means she could have. And it just makes me think of them a whole different way. Like, you got some explaining to do, Don and Candace Wells. Okay. The story's not complete. Y'all left pieces out, or Hunter's adding pieces to the story. You come up here all the damn time. Y'all need to come up here and clarify that for the internet, okay? Because it seems like I'm probably going to be back down in Tennessee. Because if Hunter reaches back out to me, as soon as he reaches out, I'm leaving for Tennessee, okay? So there's some other people I want to talk to while I'm down in Tennessee too, and I'll reach out to you people when I'm there if that goes down like I think it's going to go down, okay? Right now, you seen a young man, he came up and talked for free. He's behind on some bills. We need a little more detail. We need a little more in-depth conversation with the young man. You know, just so then when I can see right now, I feel like, you know, he ain't really got much to do with it. But I want to know for a fact in my mind that you ain't got nothing to do with it. And I just want to know step by step. I don't want to jump around. I want to start when Candace came to the house. That moment she stepped in, what'd she say? What was she wearing? What was she doing? How was she talking to your mom? Anything seemed different, out the ordinary? And walk it one piece at a time. That shit was so jumbled and like, yeah, we would boop, boop, boop. He skimmed through it like it won't nothing. So to me, I just didn't feel like we got much out of it. And we got to remember that this young man is trying to remember things from 2.5 years ago. Did he make a mistake about the Burger King? Okay, because you don't remember him saying no Burger King shit in the Chris McDonough interview. But all of a sudden there's this, yeah, the Burger King, she liked fries. There was AC. So some things are like, and you know me, I thought the Chris McDonough thing was scripted. And that every time he went to say something, he kind of bought himself an out. And Chris McDonough allowed him this out. All right. Chris McDonough, right off the rip, homicide detective, you left a door open and you left this boy an out for everything. He had an out for everything. From the very beginning, he had an out. Okay. He started it with, I ain't very good with times. Now, me, I just said, I'm not very good with time. So we're going to sit down. We're going to work it out. We're going to figure it out. Okay. He gave him an exit. He gave him an exit. You don't got to worry about time. Time is important, right? This time shit is important right here. Okay. You can't give him an exit. You can't give him an escape route. Okay. I ain't saying back him into a corner. Okay. Give him a little room to move around in the room. But don't let him out the room. Okay. Don't let him out the room. There's more of a story. Homicide detective. Okay. We box people in. We box them in. Okay. We don't give you no exits. We don't give you no easy outs, because when you give somebody easy out, he kept going to the easy out. Can't have that. Okay. And it's just a matter of wording, of how a conversation is flowing, how people engage, how you let people naturally talk. You don't over talk people. When they start talking, let them talk. He may say something that you might not even have asked. But Andrew didn't do that. I don't blame Andrew. I wouldn't want my kid getting in no trouble. And Andrew might have been telling the truth. You know, hey, don't do this shit, you know. But then again, he wasn't trying to shut it down, because, you know, Andrew's then became a YouTuber. All right. He's done realize the art of the grift a little bit. Okay. So he knew everybody wanted this. They wanted the answers, but he just didn't give it to his package like I wanted it. All right. It wasn't packaged pretty. It was rough. It wasn't well put together. It wasn't nothing about it organized. I remember Dolly went on the hunt. Dolly's going to continue to be on the hunt. All right. And I still say I got $5,000 for anybody that comes to me with information that leads me to Summer Wells. Okay. I know it ain't a lot, but there's no reward out there. Okay. None. That reward gone. All right. And I will never tell a soul who told me the information, but it has to lead me to the discovery of Summer Wells. And I'll drop that money to you like it ain't nothing. Not a problem. Boop. Here you go. Somebody knows something. And if it's just Don and Candace, we will never, ever probably get the answers. Okay. And that's the scariest part. If they're the only ones that know, I don't even think the boys know. Because the boys have been in custody. They have talked to police. By now, they've talked to psychiatrists, things of that nature. And I guess the boys' stories are lining up. So that puts us with no witnesses. If they know, they only know. The police has no proof or no evidence, zero, against them. And they got away, in my opinion, with the perfect crime. So many people try to get away with things like this and can never get away with it, get caught, go to prison, spend the rest of their life in prison. But these two people on a hill in the backwoods fucking Tennessee. Huntress asked, can she have her wrench back? Yeah, Huntress can have her wrench back. Hold on, give me a second. Let me pull up my YouTube real fast so I can give her wrench back. Content. Give me 1 second, Huntress. Live. I got to jump in here to be able to do it.
Hey, in that part here. If you wanted to.
All right, boom. Okay, now I'm back in the room. Give me 1 second, Huntress. Type something, Huntress, so I can see your name. Because I forgot I took your wrench when you was in the game. That's right. Anybody that was in the game couldn't have a wrench. Hello, the lovely Regina. Have a good night. All right, did Huntress type anything? Is she still here with us? Okay, hold on. Let me go back and up in the chat and see if I can see her screen name. I'm glad you said something because I forgot. I took it during the game. That way people couldn't say she was cheating or anything like that. Never found Rose. Now Summer. They're pros. Now, I don't know if they're responsible for Rose Bly. Okay, just to be honest, I can't say that they're responsible for Rose Bly. There was a lot of questions about the husband, the ex-husband, and custody of the kids and things of that. To me, it always sounded like he may have had something to do with it. But then you also got to remember that Candace always joked around saying that her sister was buried under the damn driveway. That's a little strange, okay? So, is she buried under a driveway somewhere? Who knows? She was never found. And what's the odds of that? What's the odds of Grandis? You got your daughter vanished, never to be found. Your granddaughter vanished, never to be found. I mean, that's like getting struck by lightning twice. It seems insane. I don't know anybody in my family that's vanished and never returned. So I don't think it's super common. Oh, there you are. Hold on. Let me give you a wrench back. All right, there you go, Huntress. There is your wrench back. All right, I forgot I took it when you was playing the game. So there you go. And this is the link, guys. If y'all want to come up and chop it up with me, this is the link to get in right here. I will post it in the chat. You guys are quiet tonight. Boom. Okay. And just like, update for you guys, if you're just tuning in, we were just going over some of the Summer Wells stuff. We talked a little bit about the Savanah Soto. The third person being arrested was the mother of Christopher, the lady that threw the towel, right? The magic towel. Now, if she had never threw that towel, would she have ever got caught? Okay. And not only that, after the murder, she took the weapon, hid the weapon. She's the one that took the shell casings. She's in a little bit of trouble. Okay. Now, like I said, them charges in Texas don't carry that long. If you was to get them same charges here in Virginia, I think you would do a lot longer in prison. But apparently the charges in Texas, they don't carry that long. And from my understanding, this woman don't have a bad criminal record. So I don't know. Maybe they do a couple years. But of course, the son, capital murder, he ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, we got Daisy in the back. Okay, let me make sure this is Daisy. Hello.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I was just making sure you was a real person.
Oh, yeah. It's me, Daisy from Critters.
Hey, Critters. What's good with you today?
Nothing much. Just hanging out. Just listening to everything.
So what do you think about the new stuff that Hunter had to say about, the Burger King and all the things?
Well, I asked Candace about that, and Candace said that they didn't go to Burger King that day. She said that she don't know where he got that from. They only went to Sonic.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I was thinking that too, that he may be mixing up 2 different days. It's been 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But there's really no way to check. It ain't like we could go pull the security footage at Burger King 2.5 years later.
I know. I think he was not remembering a whole lot of stuff, but what he did say was positive, and I think a lot of it was positive.
I do too. I thought the same thing. And like I said, I sat down and spoke with Candace and Don, and they spoke pretty positive of Hunter. And then when I listened to Hunter, I thought he spoke pretty positive of Don and Candace, that the kids were clean, that they wouldn't
Yeah,
use the kids, they wouldn't SA the kids, they wouldn't have sold the kids. The car had AC.
yeah, yeah. I believe that too. I believe that too. Um, I just wonder about Jackie Dobbs or the neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
the close neighbors. I hate to say anything, but that's just who I think.
Yeah, well, there ain't but a handful of people on that whole damn hill. I mean, you can count them on one
Yeah,
hand, you know?
yeah.
So somebody in that hill, I believe, does know something. Which one of them
I
it
do
is,
too.
I don't know. Is it Jody Sue? Is it Andy? Is it Frank Hill?
Well, I watched the videos of Jackie Dobbs, and Candace told me, she said he got around real good when he was in that neighborhood. I think she didn't come out and say it, but I think that maybe in the back of her mind
Uh-huh.
that he might be one person that she, is suspicious about.
Yeah.
And Chad Arnold.
What about the woman that, what is her name? Melina or whatever?
Candace's friend, older friend.
Yeah, I mean, Don was real suspicious of her when I was talking to Don, that, that she was there right around the time that Summer
Yeah,
went.
they were keeping Journey all the time, and um, Don got tired of, having another mouth to feed, and she was just leaving her for days at a time. So I guess she took her back to her mom. But it was known that the boyfriend of, what's her name? I forget what her name is, was coming up there and stealing off, allegedly, suspicious speculation here,
Uh-huh.
was taking Don's stuff because he got a lot of stuff stole.
Out the garages and stuff. Out
Yeah,
the
a lot
sheds.
of tools and stuff. And Summer would have went to her. I'm not saying it was her, but I'm just saying, if she would have went with anybody, it would have definitely been her. I think.
Yeah, but I mean, would them people have any reason to hurt Summer? Because it don't seem like
Uh,
nobody's seen Summer. Nobody's had a sighting of
I
Summer.
know, I know,
More people have seen Bigfoot than Summer Wells.
I know, I know. There was a picture of her swinging on the swing that Candace sent me. And in the photo, Candace said you can see a flash of light as she goes out off the hill. And
Uh-huh.
she thinks that somebody might have been watching her. Keep, taking pictures and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I've heard stuff like that too, like from the blinds, the little hunting blinds up the way that they could see down on the house and things of that nature. Uh,
yeah.
it would definitely have to be somebody that's familiar with the area, knows the area, because I went to
Uh-huh.
her house like 4 or 5 times, and
Yeah.
every time I never even knew where the house was at.
Yeah, I've never been to her house. I don't, maybe one day, but I've never been. But Candace don't really mind for people coming to her house. Like, she said that the property's been searched 1,000 times. She just don't want like everybody from like YouTube coming on there. Like, I think that certain people she would allow, but there's been people that's tried to sneak up on,
Yeah, I didn't
on
even
her.
ask them to look around, and they walked me around the whole damn property.
Yeah, yeah, they're really open. I mean, I wish people could see that,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
don't believe if they did do something, that baby's not on that hill. I'm pretty confident
No,
in that.
she's not.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I mean, there ain't no need to search there. I don't think she's on the hill. If they did
No.
do something bad, I'm sure they took her away from there because they didn't have long before everybody was there searching.
Well, if you think about it, if she would have passed away on that property or in those vehicles, you heard EquiSearch say that 18 seconds after a person dies, those dogs can pick up the scent.
Yeah, I don't so much trust them dogs though.
I know that's
I mean, I
true.
love my doggy to death, but they walk right past them Brian Laundry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
He was dead as shit. He was like a bone.
really.
They should have been able to smell a bone, and they walked right past his ass.
Wow. Yeah, there has been times that they've not picked up people, so
Yeah, I think some of them are well trained and some of them might not be so well trained.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of them dogs, I believe, are trained to hit on things that don't even have nothing in the vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because I know this for a fact because I've been pulled over and I refused to be searched, and they let the dog around my car, and the dog alerted to the car, and there's nothing in the car.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
weird.
the dog just naturally thinks it gets petted if it alerts, and it just naturally alerts. So I
Wow.
watched the car. I actually watched the dog alert to the car and everything, and I was like, okay, this dog is dumb as hell.
Is it a new car, or reckon something happened in
It
the old?
was something that didn't have nothing illegal in it and hadn't had nothing illegal in it. So I have no reason for it to think they're going to find anything in it, you know.
That's weird.
And the dog alerted to the car, and I was like,
Wow.
okay, I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Oh wow. You know the clothes that Candace had. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the clothes that Candace has that Summer was wearing that day in the car. She said that the cadaver, they just used them to sniff one time and then throw them down on the ground. And she had to pick them up off the ground.
Well, yeah, they just get the dog to scent. But here's the thing is, what was Summer wearing if she wasn't wearing the clothes that she was supposed to be wearing?
She changed her out of that outfit.
At what point did she get changed? Because I know in that memorial box was her outfit, some of the outfit, bathing suit. Like, what did she technically have on? I mean, I understand she had on gray pants and a pink shirt.
Yeah, she had that. Maybe she had that on. I don't know. I'd have to go back and see what she was wearing when they said she went missing. I haven't asked Candace.
And that's a lot of changing clothes in one day, you know.
Yeah. Well, she was hot. I guess she might have got hot. I don't know. She never did say, but I know that she got cold. Candace said she got cold, and she put her in that outfit. But I remember, I live here in East Tennessee, and I remember it being cooler in June that year. I know a lot of people's looked up the temperature, but I felt like it was cooler.
It was in the high 80s. It wasn't that hot.
No, it wasn't that hot, so I could see. But I just wonder why they
didn't. Even you know, high 80s, if you do get wet, it might be a little chilly.
Yeah.
Temperature, you know, it's like a 100-degree day.
Yeah. She also went from, I guess, from Hawkins Courthouse to Ben Hill, and she said it only took her like 20 minutes, and she wondered why it took them so long to get there. Like, she said it took like an hour for them to get there, and she had already formed a search party by the time they got there. The cops.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about, I guess, from the main road, it's about a 20-minute ride down Beach Creek. And
yeah, so I wonder why it took them so long. But she had already got a bunch of people out looking for Summer when the police actually got there, she said.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we heard Jody Sue Brown say that she's seen Candace come off the hill, you know, when the boys were in the creek searching.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what about this whole Hunter doubling down on Don Wells was home that day?
I think that if Don would have been home, the police would have already stated that he was home. I think Hunter might have thought he was home that day, but I don't believe that he would have been home because
how did the boys get back?
I don't think she told me the boys were home alone. Like Josie was like 12, so yeah. She left the boys at home. Is what she said.
And what about Don calling her saying somebody was messing with the boys? When would that have transpired?
She never mentioned that to me. I never asked her.
Yeah, because you know Hunter, he says that he. I know. But Candace never addressed that.
She's never said that to me. I don't know. I'd have to ask her about it.
Yeah, that's probably when you should ask.
Yeah.
Did Don ever call that day when you were with Hunter? That would be a good question, you know?
Yeah. I could ask her that.
Because maybe there was some misunderstanding in what was said, because Hunter believes that the boys were at the house and Don Wells was at the house with him, the boys, when he made that call. And he says that call was somewhere roughly around 3:00.
Yeah.
So that would have had Don Wells going back to work and coming straight back
Yeah.
You know, so something don't add up right there. I don't know if it's his memory or Candace and Don's memory, but one of them's flawed somewhere.
I know I asked her about Burger King and she said that never happened, but I haven't asked her about the other stuff. And she's usually open about answering questions.
Yeah, I
So
mean, when I sat and talked with her, she didn't seem like she would try to avoid any of my questions or anything. She went
yeah.
through everything, and you know, of course, you're going to try to say things that don't implicate you. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know, as far as the alcohol and things, you know, as far as buying the kid alcohol and things of that nature, and she just simply, you know, made it out to be as, and hey, this kid was doing all this shit way before me, so don't, you know, it was okay with Allie, so I thought it was okay, kind of thing. And she's lucky she never got herself in no trouble for that.
Well, I've never asked her about any of that. I just kind of not say anything. I just, I don't know what happened there, and so
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, I get it if she just thinks he's a homie. And I think Candace carries herself like she's a teenager.
Well, she told me that she done a lot with them kids, and she thought of them a lot as her own kids. That's what she told me, and she said she would take them and do things with them, and she did the same thing with Dawn's daughter's kids. They hung to her like they were her grandma or something. Like any kid she gets around, they hang right to her. So I just think she generally likes kids to be around.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
just see
think.
Candace as a sober person, as her being likable. I thought she was likable.
She
You
is.
know,
She's very kind-hearted. She gets her feelings hurt very, very
now the
easily.
drunk crying all the time thing is a little, you know, when you start drinking, you start crying about everything. That sad drunk thing drives me crazy. But for the most part, when I met her when she was sober, she seemed like a very likable person. She didn't seem cold and dark and heartless,
No,
is what I'm trying.
not at all. She's very kind-hearted, and I wish people could see more of that. Because when here at Christmas time, I showed her my decorations, for Christmas, and she's like, "Oh, Daisy, please don't do that." She started bawling. She's like, "I don't have my kids here. It's not the same. I can't celebrate Christmas with them. My summer, I don't know where she's at. I wish people could see more of that."
Yeah, and I mean, there's the whole bringing strangers around your kids, the whole Jose thing. It just adds a lot of crazy stories and rumors and speculation.
Oh yeah, there's been so many. Like Robin, they said Robin was gonna take the boys. No, I was on the phone that day that with Don at work when he was supposed to have been at court trying to get Robin Lane to get the boys, and it didn't happen. He was at work. There was no court. That was all completely made
All
up.
internet rumors, speculation.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
the internet's quick to run with some stuff. That is definitely for sure.
yeah. So many that I've. There was something else not too long ago that I had to come and clarify, and I'm like, geez, since I've been friends with them and I talk to them daily.
Has
I
Dom
know,
has Dom went back to work? I heard Candace got a job.
yes, yes.
So Don's not working and Candace is working.
Candace has got RSV right now, so she's been off work a couple weeks because of the RSV.
What is
Um,
RSV?
it's a respiratory virus that's real
Oh,
bad on kids
oh, okay.
and
Okay.
elderly, and so it's very contagious. So she's not had went back to work these last couple weeks, but yes, she does work,
Oh, that's good to
and
hear.
Donnie does too, and she does really good because I've spoke to her boss, and they love her, and you know she does really good. She works hard.
What is the deal with? Do you know the deal with the kids? Do they have any chance of getting the kids back, or is it a done deal?
They still, I can say this, they still have the rights to their kids.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. That
Yeah,
Um,
they still have to call them and make. They still have to call them and ask them for permission for anything that they do.
have they been continuing to make repairs to the house? Do you know?
Yeah, you should see how good it looks, Dolly. If you go back to Tennessee and you get a chance, if you was to go back up there,
Uh-huh.
man, it looks so good. They have done so much, and that basement is completely transformed. They built a wall down there. They built steps down there.
Yeah, when I
mean,
went, they had it. It was empty, but it was all new. They had painted it all. It didn't have the steps in it yet, but the upstairs was fairly clean. Everything was organized. I didn't think it was that bad. He
yeah,
needs a few repairs to the house. Like I told him, I said, "There's some things you need to do,
yeah.
and you need to start doing these things. You know, don't put it off."
Oh yeah, she showed me her new flooring the other day, and it looked so good. And her kitchen and her stove, and just yeah, they've redone the bathroom. You'll be amazed.
Well, you know,
They're
here if they get their stuff together, you know, the
uh-huh.
house together, that would have been the first thing, because that is what the social services is going to say. Well, you got to have a safe place environment for the kids. As long as it's safe, they good. You know,
Yeah,
especially these boys ain't babies, so they only need so much anyway.
yeah, yeah. I hope that they can at least get like even if they get to talk to the kids and supervise visitation. To me, that would be good. I think that would help the situation, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time I talk to Donnie on the phone, it's about his kids, getting his kids back.
But I mean, I hear that Candace has completed everything, does everything they want from her, but Donnie's the one that's hard to get to do anything.
Well, I think he's been taking classes too. I'm not 100% sure, but I know he was, but I haven't asked her anything. I talk to Candace more than I do Don.
Yeah, because I know Candace, she seemed like she was willing to do whatever they asked of her, but Don seems to be a little bit more the tougher one on the get him to do shit kind of level.
He's a little stubborn. I ain't gonna lie about that.
But that's
So I don't
this is
know.
important. This is really important, because
Yeah,
if you do what these people ask of you, they will
yeah.
give you your kids back.
Well, I've told Candace, I said, I would just sit down with them and have a talk and just tell them, I love my kids with all my heart. She said she had, but they just don't listen, like that they listen, but
And if these YouTubers were really their friends up here,
yeah.
they wouldn't allow them to come up here and drunk like that and embarrass themselves on the internet. That's when
Well,
that's when I know people don't really give two shits about them. When they allow them to do those things so they could use it for views and clicks, I'm like, these people don't care nothing about Don and Candace,
I agree.
because a real person be like, look, man, we might need to do this at a different time. You a little fucked up.
Or they kick them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did with Don when he started pissing and things like that. I was like, bro, you got to go, man. We a little more family friendly. I mean, we ain't perfect. We
I
ain't
know.
perfect, but we ain't pissing in the toilet live kind of stream. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be honest with you, Donnie. Or sorry,
Dolly.
Dolly.
Close.
Dolly. Sorry. Don is a complete redneck when he drinks. I'm not going to deny that. But he's the best person in the world if he's sober. He's not a bad person like people says he is. But he's a redneck when he drinks. That's
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
when I met them, I had the YouTube impression. I've seen them on the internet. I've seen how they acted. When I met them, it was totally different than.
Yes.
And I was like, dude, like, why don't y'all go on the internet when y'all sober? Y'all do yourself more justice. Y'all understand what's going on. You're able to explain shit. Y'all get up there slap ass drunk, and everybody just has this weird perception of you,
Yeah.
that you're monsters.
Right. They do. And it's not, I mean, yeah, it's not good. I agree.
Okay,
But
well,
he's, huh?
go ahead.
I was like, but he's really not as bad of a person as what people think. He can be a redneck. I ain't gonna lie about that, but
Yeah. Okay, well, look, Daisy, I appreciate you coming up here. I'm not going to be here
Okay.
long, so it was
Thank you
good.
for having me up here.
Ain't no problem. You take care and you be good. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye, Dolly.
All right, peace. Okay, so the Daisy Farm, critters on the farm, is that how you say it? Anyway, so we heard a couple different opinions on the whole Summer Wells thing tonight. Like I said, in the Savanah Soto, no big surprise. We knew it was either the mother or the little brother. But a family killing people and robbing people together, that's a little strange. Okay. It's a little strange. And The good thing about this is they didn't get away with it. Cameras happen to catch these people. You only get away with things if your last name is the Wells. Allegedly, according to some people. Now, some people, look, I know people that say, look, I don't believe Candace could do this. I've heard a lot of good things about Candace Wells from people, her friends. I've heard some bad things about Candace. Can't say I haven't. I've heard some things that are a little strange. Okay. But I've heard a lot of good things about her too, which puts her somewhere kind of in the middle. You know, nobody's perfect. One of us in here a fucking saint. Okay. Is she a killer? I don't know. Was it an accident? I don't know. Will there ever be answers for Summer Wells? I don't know. The one thing I do know right now is I don't know. Okay, and I think that's everybody's problem. Nobody knows. And the people that do know, whoever they are, they're not talking. Okay, they're not saying it. And there's no cameras in them hills. There's no damn people in them hills. There's beagles. Okay, if them beagles could talk, okay, if the beagle could talk, it would tell us. Okay, but them dogs have been adopted out. I tried to get what was that dog's name? Sparky or damn Spanky, some shit, right? Rocky. That was his name, Rocky. I tried to get Rocky. Rocky would have told, okay? But Rocky got adopted out like 20 minutes before I made the phone call. So we didn't get Rocky. Rocky would be sitting here with me right now, living large, okay? But no, he got adopted. Dolly didn't get him. There was a couple ladies that did get a couple of Summers dogs that had drove down from out of state. And I'm sure them dogs are loving life. So them dogs actually, believe it or not, they went from living that rough life on the hill to living on the hill. You know what I'm saying? You went from living on the bad hill to living on the good hill. Okay. So them dogs got a good life now. So a lot of cool people stepped up to take in those dogs. Right. And that's cool. So that at least the little fur babies out there, they don't got to get suffered. They ain't got to get hit by cars. They get to eat every day. They get to go in the house. So, and they'll actually be loved. So in the end of this, we just all pray that one day we turn on this internet, this little tube right here, and there's breaking news, the discovery of Summer Wells or the arrest in the Summer Wells case. Either way, I will jump for joy, be the happiest man on YouTube that day. Okay. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of happy people. And I too truly believe one day we will get those answers. Okay. I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon, in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, but I do believe them answers will eventually come. What happens in the dark always comes to light. It just takes some time. We look at some of these cases that go on for 5, 10 years that get solved. You look at this in that same time frame, this is pretty fresh. Even though I still feel it's a cold case, in the aspect of time, it hasn't been that long in a case like this. Okay. Believe it or not, 2 years ain't really that long. Every day that passes, I feel the odds of if Summer is out there, they get less and less and less. I honestly don't believe that little girl is out here. I pray to God that I am completely wrong on that one thing. Okay. If I woke up and they said, hey, we found Summer Wells at a truck stop in New Mexico or something, I would almost have a heart attack. Right. And I would be glad that I was wrong. But I think there's more to it. And what happens on that hill stayed on that hill. And until one of those people on that hill break, or they remember something that they're not saying, it's going to be a long ride waiting to pick up Summer Wells. Okay. So look, I'm going to get out of here. I will be back later tonight on Dolly Uncensored for a little hangout, a little joking, a little shit talking. I'm going to try to keep Dolly Vision just straight true crime, 2024. I don't want a bunch of, you know, joking, playing, trolling type stuff going on. So I'm going to jump on Dolly Uncensored. I'm going to grab me a soda, something to snack on, and I'll be back in probably about, I don't know, give me about an hour or so, and I'll be back on Dolly Uncensored. If you ain't subbed it up yet, make sure you sub up that channel. It's just my open panel channel where we just open discussion. You can talk about damn anything you damn want. All right. And I'll see y'all guys over there in about 45 minutes to an hour or so. Dolly Uncensored. Peace.